It has been to the day 7 weeks since you had your endometriosis surgery, and it seems like it was a lifetime ago.
The surgery was bumped earlier.
But you're still not even close to normal.
Right.
Oh.
It has been a crazy surgery and a crazy recovery, like worse than I think either of us anticipated.
I feel like I was well prepared, but I feel like it was even a little bit harder than I really expected.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
But it feels weird, honestly, being on this side of it. I mean, I feel like it was felt like so slow coming, like especially waiting those 3 months from when we scheduled surgery to having surgery, but then now it feels so weird. It feels like it happened so fast.
Well, especially because your periods were just so bad.
So bad.
Like it was, if you have these crazy periods, that's not normal.
No.
Okay, you shouldn't be throwing up or about to faint or not be able to function. Like that's not normal. Maybe you have endometriosis. Maybe that's something that you should look into. The tricky thing is that you have to go to the right people and to get these surgeries. And you did the research. Sarah's a big researcher, so that's why we're making this video, updating you guys, because we found a guy in Chattanooga, which is where we traveled to, pretty close to us. I mean, it's like 3 hours away or something like that.
Are you nervous?
Shockingly, no.
I'm not really either.
I don't know if I've had enough time to feel nervous because it was such a jolt this morning. They just woke me up calling, saying can you be here earlier? That I don't feel like And we were kind of lucky because it is very common to have to travel to get to someone who's really, really good.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to travel too far. I do want to emphasize that it is, do your research. Don't just go to the doctor. When I finally, because even my family didn't really understand how bad it had been for me. And so when I finally told my mom this is how bad my periods are, and she was like, you need to get that checked. And I was like, it's not that simple. You can't just get it checked.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that that's not the route that I took, is just going to the doctor and asking the doctor what to do about it. I did very deep research. I found my surgeon that I was interested in before I even knew that I was officially going to need surgery, and I'm very, very glad that that is the way that I went, and I found the right person before even considering surgery.
But this surgeon was so good, he only made one incision through her belly button. And so this is why it's hard to describe just how extensive this 5-hour surgery was, because it doesn't look bad. You can't see anything.
From the outside, you can barely tell that even had surgery.
Yeah, you can't tell. So it's kind of hard to grasp just the amount of work that this guy, Dr. Fur, can do. And
that's pretty rare. He's, I think, one of the only people that is doing this. There may be others, but he's one of the few.
And I would definitely suggest, if you are somebody who is maybe interested, you're watching this, maybe I have endometriosis, to go to Dr. Fur or go to somebody who does this wide excision surgery, it's called. That's the best way, and I would say the only way in my opinion, it is the only way to get it out and it not come back. But before we continue, we want to say a big thank you to our sponsor, Helix, who really helped during Sarah's recovery. Sarah has spent an unbelievable amount of time in bed over the past 7 weeks, and without Helix, it would not have been nearly as comfortable. Helix has sponsored our channel for over 3 years now, I think. It's crazy, it's been that long, and I really appreciate them. When you support our sponsor, you're 100% supporting what we do and allowing me to be able to stay home with Sarah when all this crazy stuff is going on. Helix is a premium mattress in a box company that makes mattresses to fit your unique needs and preferences based on your body type and sleep style.
And with a lot of options for mattresses on their site, how they fit you with the perfect one is very unique and pretty fun.
Helix knows that everybody is different, so they developed a sleep quiz to help hone into the perfect mattress for your body type and sleep preferences. Like for instance, me and Sarah, obviously we sleep together because we're married, but we're very different sleepers. I am a stomach sleeper and Sarah is a side sleeper, which I wish that I was, but I'm not. So we took the sleep quiz together, and Helix, I mean, they really hit the nail on the head with the perfect mattress for us. They gave us the Helix Sunset Luxe mattress, and it could not be more perfect for the two of us.
We even converted some of our friends to Helix, and they love it too.
We want you to experience that first night of Helix sleep like we did. Take the sleep quiz by clicking the link down in the description below. And the best part about all of this is that Helix delivers your mattress right to your door for free if you're in the United States. It just comes nice and compact in this box, and you put it on your bed frame and you roll it out, and then it just kind of gets bigger on your bed. It fluffs, that's what it is. If it makes you nervous to buy something online that you haven't really tried yet, that's honestly how I am, don't worry, because Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so that's more than 3 months to make sure that you absolutely love the mattress. Plus, Helix mattresses even have a 10-year warranty. They also offer financing options and flexible payment plans, so the perfect night's sleep is literally available to everyone.
We love our Helix mattress, and we know you will too.
If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix. You can click the link down below or go to helixsleep.com/JordanTaylor for 20% off your Helix mattress plus 2 free pillows. That's helixsleep.com/JordanTaylor. Let's get back to your surgery.
I can't stress enough how important it is to get a very good surgeon. My surgery, the outcome of my surgery would have been very, very different with a different surgeon, I believe. And just a quick overview of what wide excision actually is versus what other types of surgery. So the most common is ablation, and so that's where they're going and they're just lasering or burning the surface of the endometriosis. And especially with my endometriosis, this would have been very bad. I think that's a huge waste of having surgery, in my opinion. And then there's excision surgery, which is called the gold standard of endometriosis treatment. But wide excision is just one step above that, and it's where they go in and they just look for anything and everything that even remotely looks like endometriosis, and they remove it with wide margins, which means they're cutting until they see healthy tissue. So they are like cutting out the endometriosis to the point where they are sure that they got it all out. And this is the best way to ensure that it's not going to come back.
And they're looking everywhere. They're not just looking at a girl's reproductive organs. They're looking
From the
at her diaphragm.
down.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking everywhere. But it was 5 hours long, and the surgeon is calling me during the surgery because it's, happening around very sensitive areas for a woman. And so they're just making sure, hey, this is what we've found. It's extremely bad. Here are your options. Here's what do you want us to do in this case? In this case, luckily everything was extremely successful. Sarah doesn't have any long-term damage or anything like that, but they had to do some specialized things that
In fact, they fixed damage. I would have had damage, but they fixed it.
And if we hadn't have gone to Dr. Fur, I don't think that it would have got. I think it would have been bad. I think it would have been really bad.
That's another thing that you have to think about when you are choosing a surgeon is, are they the type of surgeon that's going to just remove things?
Yeah.
Endometriosis, let's just remove it, instead of having the skill to be able to save organs and things like that.
Yeah, he literally called and said, here's the problem, what do you want me to do? And I said, save it.
Yeah.
See if you can. He was like, all right. So he called back and he was like, all right, we're successful. Everything's great.
I also had, which made my case a little bit confusing and a little bit worse, and also another reason why it was really important to have a very skilled surgeon is I would say probably the majority of my disease is what's called extra-pelvic endometriosis, which just means having endometriosis anywhere else in the body that is not on just the typical reproductive organs where you would typically find endometriosis. And it's considered to be very rare, but it's actually not rare at all. It's actually extremely common. The reason why it's considered rare is because most surgeons just don't look for it. And so they just think that it's not there. It can't be there because it's rare. But that was actually where the majority of my disease was. So that means off of my reproductive organs, on my abdominal wall, on some places on my intestines.
Which makes a lot of sense with the pain and some problems that she was having. It made a lot of sense.
A lot of just different areas.
And you want, this is why if you're a girl and you're struggling with these random things, why is my digestion weird? Why, when I run, can I not breathe properly? Why can't I this? Why this? And it's what if it's just endometriosis and it's on these rare areas that's not actually so rare, and it's all connected, and you have terrible periods at the same time. It's like these are the connections that
because that was one of the first symptoms that I experienced was just extreme pain induced by exercise. So out of surgery, I still didn't know what was what had happened, but I'd had minor surgeries before, not having to do with endometriosis, but for other things like little tiny minor surgeries. And so I didn't know what it was like to wake up from major surgery, and it was definitely a completely different ballgame. It was so hard to wake up. For the most part, I wasn't in pain. I remember being in intense pain, just like my endometriosis pain when I first woke up from surgery. But I was like almost dreaming it because I was having trouble waking up. But I just remember having that pain, and then I think the nurse gave me something for it. And then there on out, it was kind of just a blur. After that, I remember waking up one more time and them telling me they were going to wheel me into recovery, went back to sleep, woke up again.
It was like an hour and a half later. She was literally in recovery for an hour and a half.
And then I woke up again, and they're like, do you want me to get your husband? I said yes, fell back asleep. Next thing I know, I'm waking up again, and he's there.
Yeah.
So it was very in and out for me.
That's always the part that I don't like thinking about or seeing is like somebody that you love. Just, I know what happened in the surgery, but like then when I actually see you there and you look different, it's clearly you have been through some major trauma that I wasn't a part of. You know what I mean? There's just like this weird thing that's like, okay, what's going on? Like how do I help? That's always just like such a weird thing.
It was a long time in that I don't even know what they call it, but that post-recovery room. That was the whole process. They almost kept me overnight. After you have a big surgery like that, especially when it's like pelvic surgery, abdominal surgery, you have to have a catheter during surgery. And so it's very difficult for like your bladder muscles and things to start to wake up and work. And in order to go home, you have to pee, which sounds so simple, right? It was not simple. I could not go. And if you can't go, they'd have to keep you, or they have to send you home with a catheter, which is my worst nightmare. It was down to the wire. They kept giving me fluids, and so I felt like I was about to burst. It was almost to the point where I was like, just give me a catheter. Like, that sounds horrific, but like, I'm so miserable. I want to go home so badly.
So the only thing, and the nurse said, there's one thing that you can try and see if it works. It's worked for some other people, and like people didn't really know about this method, I guess. But what they gave us was this
urinal.
That's
what it's called.
So what we did was I poured warm water from the faucet in this, and we poured it on her. In that area.
And then I went.
And she magically went like immediately. This is awkward, I know, but if you're if you're in this situation, do this because it worked.
Do it right away.
Ask for one of these and just do it, and it works.
One of the nurses suggested that, and the other nurse was shocked and she'd never heard of it. So apparently this is not a well-known trick.
I don't think that she believed me that because we were having such trouble. Then she leaves. We try this. She walks in and we're like, "Hey, she went."
Yeah,
and she was like really?
Hours too. Like this wasn't like hours. I was trying to go for hours. It was horrible, and that did the trick. So definitely, if you're in that situation, try that.
This
it worked.
Is a miracle. And we just got in the car and Sarah slept. Well, this was also something that we were struggling with. It was like, do we stay overnight someplace? Or do we just leave immediately after surgery? And we had initially booked an Airbnb to leave the next day. But then we just canceled it and decided, hey, let's just drive home that night because you're already going to have so many pain meds now. And if you've ever really seriously injured yourself, like surgery is like getting seriously injured.
Bye guys, love you.
Hey, bye. Thank you so much. See ya. Bye-bye. Yeah, I will.
If you've ever seriously injured yourself, you know that the next day you feel much worse than the first 3 hours that it happened. You have so much adrenaline, there's so much going on. So we decided to just drive home 3 hours.
And I'm really glad that we did it that way because I pretty much slept the entire, when we would hit a bump, I would wake up for a second because it was hurt to hit a bump, and then I'd go right back to sleep. But honestly,
so I'm trying to dodge all the potholes.
The next day, I feel like it would have been a lot harder to actually wake up and get in the car.
I'm so glad we didn't do that.
I really am glad that we.
Also, another suggestion is to bring baggy clothes if you're a girl. Bring baggy, like, onesie type thing. Like,
Yeah, I got this like giant like full length like hoodie from Walmart. Like it was like a nightgown hoodie.
yeah.
It's huge. And I put that on to go home, and the nurse was like, "Wow, that's great. Where did you get that?" She's like, "You'd be surprised how many women put on jeans to go home." And I was like,
Yeah, they've got the skinny jeans. They're like pulling them, they're buttoning them after they've had the surgery. She said it's crazy.
I can't even imagine putting on pants. Like, and after surgery, they pump you full of like gas, so you blow up like a balloon so they can like see in there. You are so swollen, like, and huge after surgery. I was like, I couldn't even imagine putting on. So yes, definitely baggy clothes, a pillow for your stomach. Which was suggested to me, and that was a great suggestion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I got home, and I didn't leave the house for like a month. I was just here in my big giant hoodie for like a month.
Yeah.
That's a big step.
Yeah, that's gross.
So we've been gone from the channel. I mean, I had been uploading so regularly and everything, and that kind of just went out the window after with the surgery, because I realized just how involved, how much I was like, oh, I like, this is like a full-time thing, like making sure you're okay, getting stuff, cooking, organizing things, and
also just like keeping track of when I took medicine, because
Yes.
for the first week I was good for nothing. Like I didn't know what day it was, I didn't know what time it was. Like I literally couldn't take care of myself at all. Even if I felt like I could, there was no way. I was very easily confused, and I pretty much slept that entire week. Like I remember sitting out here at the table very briefly for like the first time since surgery, and I realized that it had been a week since I'd had surgery, and it felt like it had been 2 days.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, wow, I've done nothing but sleep for this entire week.
How are you?
Feeling a little bit better. Hurts my shoulders, which I expected.
From the gas
Yeah.
that they put in you so they can see.
And really, I continued to pretty much sleep for the entire second week. And honestly, the second week I would say was probably the hardest, because I broke out in hives, and I also stopped my pain medicine. So I was in more pain, and I had this horrible reaction. We're not even really sure where that reaction came from. I think it was just overload. I think it was just body overload from the medicine and surgery and all of that. But that lasted about a week. And I started to get a little bit better after that, but it was still just, and even now my pain is significantly better. But the fatigue is still there, and my surgeon did say that to expect kind of those like shooting pains and fatigue for about 12 weeks from the surgery that I ended up having to have. And I do feel like I'm feeling better, but it kind of comes in cycles now, because that's another thing I got a lot of questions about right after surgery, was like, oh my goodness, do you feel immediately better? And this is not an immediate fix. The surgery, it's by far, it is worth it, but I was well warned that this is going to be a long process. It's really 6 months to a year of healing before you're going to be at your best again. And
they were saying, imagine like digging into your bicep and like trying to get something out of it. Like that's literally what they're doing all over the place.
Because I had a lot of deep infiltrating endometriosis, but it is a long process. Even if you have a more mild surgery than what I had, it's like even the first, they say 2 to 4 periods afterwards are going to be like as bad or maybe worse than before surgery.
How did you sleep last night?
I slept well when I was sleeping. I just woke up like 5 times. But at least to me, I've had 1 period since surgery, and it was horrible. But I felt like I had a really good mindset around it, because it actually felt like a healing process instead of just being in pointless pain.
Yeah.
And so for me, even though it was really rough, it's like just knowing like, oh, I only have to do this, this many more times, and then I'm going to feel good.
Maybe 3 or 4 more times. Yeah.
Instead of before, where I was just, in pain, and I wasn't really sure exactly why. And so it's been, even though it's been rough, and I still have a ways more to go, it's like each time that I'm doing worse or having a bad day, I'm like, well, at least I am working towards being better than ever. So It's a long, hard surgery, but I thought, one more year of pain versus however many years of pain I could have had if I hadn't had the surgery.
Yeah, and a lot of people within like the more natural, community, because to them and to us, surgery is kind of like a method of last resort because you don't want that amount of invasion into your body. But they'll just say things like, well, just get pregnant and then your endometriosis will magically go away. And they believe that. But that's not actually what happens. That's not true. Especially sometimes endometriosis is in places that you can't get pregnant. And so them saying that makes no sense because it's so deeply infiltrated. I literally can't. And you're telling me to get pregnant.
But even if you have endometriosis and can get pregnant, that is absolutely not a treatment. You're not actually going to be endometriosis free. Now,
it's not going to go away.
Do get pregnant, and after pregnancy, they do notice a huge improvement in their symptoms. And that does happen, but there's a reason why you're feeling better. It's not because the endometriosis is gone. And so, but that's why that's a thing, is they're like, oh, I had a aunt, she got pregnant and her endometriosis pain went away. And it's like, well, there's a reason why she felt better, but that's not going to happen all the time. And your aunt's endometriosis did not go away because of pregnancy. It's a whole thing. I've also been told it's because of parasites and toxins, which is absolutely ridiculous. Just do your research on the actual disease before falling into those. I do feel like I have gotten very, very frustrated with the naturally minded community when it comes to endometriosis, because I feel like there's so much harm in the information they put out, which is hard because that's me. I am very naturally minded.
Yeah.
I am all about avoiding medications and letting your body heal itself through supporting yourself, and that is what we believe. But with endometriosis, it's a completely different. It's a different thing.
It's a weird thing.
And so you cannot heal endometriosis naturally. Unfortunately, that's just not how this works.
From what we understand at this point in time, yeah.
So there's a lot of, I think, pushback between is surgery this, the medical route, and I believe that surgery plus just supporting your body is the integrative way. That is the most natural thing you can do.
Yeah, you can make your symptoms kind of go away by natural living and stuff like that, but then
you're only going to be fighting symptoms for the rest of the time you're going to be fighting those symptoms. So for me and the research that I did, I found that really the only way to overcome it is to get surgery and then just be healthy after that, to ensure that it doesn't come back.
So that's what's been going on. It's been pretty wild, and we still have a bit of a ways to go, but life, I feel like, is starting to get back to normal. Sarah can kind of go to our family's houses and stuff and just sit on the couch, but
I've been getting out.
I've
been getting out a little bit.
But it feels like it's been an eternity since we've really been able to do anything. So things are getting back to normal. We've got a lot of videos planned. I know the channel is kind of going in a different direction. I'm very happy about that. I hope that you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.